What is happening, guys? Steve Maeda. We are in Montana. I'm a little bit marooned right now, but let's start this off by opening up this PDF. We're going to get into some deep stuff to really revolutionize a lot about your life, how you live, how you think, and coming from one of the most epic places. This is going to be an amazing lesson in self-help, men's development, and I hope you follow along with it. So with this course, as all the free courses, you get free calls, you get the free PDF, you get this video, and you get whatever else we throw at you. Check out the Austin Men's Development Facebook group, because that's where guys are working this. And really how I'm going to do this is basically I am going to have, at any point where you come in on this lesson, whether it's on lesson 1, lesson 8, this one, lesson 6, you could just come on the calls and interact with us. One of the things that we got from the calls yesterday, that when we were going over our anger PDF, the lesson 5, and really check that out, that whole thing could be worked for months. We wanted to work on something that got into the solution, that got into our ideals. And this one is just that. So pretty epic. This is the free course, so it's not going to go entirely in depth. It's going to go in depth as best as we can. And it's kind of crazy because there's snow actually coming down. I just swam in this like icy river today, so it was pretty crazy. I'm glad that there's sunshine and I'm out of the extreme weather. Let's go to this. So guys, remember, this is not a replacement for self-help. This is a free community. You get a lot of stuff with it. Please, if you need to see a therapist or psychiatrist or psychologist, this does not replace that. Go see them. And man, show up on our group and interact. That is fundamental. That is how this is meant to be worked. It is meant to be worked so that we are within a community doing this. All right, let's go down here to today's lesson. All right, so ideals, values, principles. If there was something that I could do to reshape you, to make you find a direction that was going to work, that was going to make you better off, that in 6 months, if you did this, it would be this. Get in touch with your ideals, values, and principles. But I'm not just skimping on this. This is something that you really have to do. It's not like some easy, quick fix thing. Like, you really need to dive into it. This is why that lesson 4 on anger, that lesson 5 on anger, they're epic. If you want to do more on those, please sign up for MDX. This is where we work it. This is where we put in the work. And it's really going to change a lot. And this one, no different. So when we're working our ideals, our values, and our principles, it goes deep, man. You're going to get like the little bit baby step lesson here, but it's going to go really deep. And then here on the PDF, we actually talk about something really interesting, because there's dynamics of self-help, meaning like different principles, different things that come up all the time in self-help and in men's development and developing yourself that just repeat. And this is one of them that is awesome. So if I were to actually say that if you wanted to change something in your life, number one thing is you'd have to stop what's hurting you directly. For drug addicts, that's easy, because you got to stop using drugs, which is not easy, but it's easy to identify. Maybe it's an abusive relationship and so on. But basically, you have to stop what is hurting you. Now, a lot of people don't have that, so it actually doesn't apply to everybody. But the next thing would be is you need to start doing simple actions that you believe in. So something to get you on track, something to get you functional. This is stuff like if you go to the gym, if you start journaling, meditating, yoga, all of these things that you hear a lot of people talk about. But if we only talk about those, it ends up being incomplete. So the next thing is the hard part, the personal inventory, and that's what we were talking about on yesterday's lesson, or in lesson 4 and 5, if you were to go and reference those things. And then it would be a deep inventory of principles, which is what we're going to talk about today. And that deep inventory of principles, as well as using those principles as a guide, is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Again, guys, very important lesson. If this is something that you want to, like, in 6 months from now, really change your life, it's good stuff here. It's good stuff. All right, so let's get to this. Ideals, principles, values. In fact, it's in the order of values, ideals, principles. But what we start out with this in the beginning is we start out with a definition of what that is. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to the dictionary or Google or whatever and search what it says the definition is. I've already done it for myself, but you should do it yourself. And then I want you to give your personal definition to it. All right, so for values, what we're going to do is we're going to consult Google or the dictionary or whatever. Does anybody even have those anymore? And we're going to type that in, and we're going to put the dictionary definition of values down. Then we're going to give our own definition to that, as well. All right, so then when we get to ideals, we're gonna do the same thing. What is the dictionary definition of that? And then we're gonna do our own definition of that. Same with principle, dictionary definition, then our own definition. And this is important because if we're using this to reshape our life, we have to know it. We have to know it. And man, if I were doing this course with you on the work, which is an MDX course, we would be going through this for like a month of how we would not just define these, but challenge ourselves with them, see what worked, see what didn't, and so on. And it gets really, really good. So now we have to go to the discovery portion of this. And step one of that is we're gonna put down ideals, values, and principles, and we're gonna make a list. And on that list, we just want 3 of these. So 3 of our ideals, 3 of our values, and 3 of our principles. We wanna put those in a list next to the word, however you want to do it. And we just want to keep it at 3 because here's the thing, it's easy to make a list. You know, you're not doing any extra work if you're making a list, but it is going to be hard with what you're going to do with that list. So if you ever work with me, there's a lot of different stuff that we do with lists. Man, just listen to me. Like if I say, just make a short list, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're just gonna overwhelm yourself if you do too many. And this is where I think it's really important that you show up on the calls, you're working with us in all these different ways, because there's gonna be guys who do this, and the guys that do this, you wanna listen to, and then you want to really have that shape how you do this exercise, because again, this exercise is going to do so much to revolutionize your life if you can maintain it, right? I don't teach quick fixes here. We get to the page which says intention and action. And here's the thing, with our ideals, our values, and our principles, they're projections, or we may already be living them, but we could be living them better. So we have to start out with an intention, where we want to go, and then we want to do an action towards that. So for each of that list of 3 things, meaning, like with my ideals, I put to live happy, to build wealth for my kids, and to live with inner peace. For this exercise, because it's part of the free lesson, I just want you to examine what your intention is for this. I want you to think about it throughout the day. What I would actually do is have you write about it. So write down like, man, what is my intention behind my ideal? What is my intention behind how to live happy, how to build wealth for my kids? I want you to get in touch with it. I want you to define and get to know your goal. You know, what is my intention for inner peace? So those are really, really important. But I also want you to assign an action to it based off of that intention. So if it is to build wealth for my kids, one of the things could be is that I want to work daily, but I want to have that intention with my work. So when I'm working daily, I want to be, man, you know, is this setting stuff up for my kids? Am I putting myself in a position where I can make money that isn't just quick money, that is long-term money, so that they could have good lives, that when emergencies happen and so on, they could be taken care of. This is something which is important with my daily action of work. It's got to have that intention behind it. And remember, we have intentions because we are not there yet. So for each one of those, that's 9 things on that list, we're going to set an intention for what we want, and then we are going to give it a daily action. And if you try this out for a week, it's gonna show you what is kind of like BS in your intentions, BS about your different ideals or principles or values, and it's gonna really put the stress of life on it. Life has to be worked. Our dreams and ambitions have to be worked. So here's where we're working them. And guys, I cannot emphasize enough that for this, you show up on our calls for the free course. That schedule for the calls is listed down below, and the Zoom link and all that other sort of stuff. So guys, good stuff. We're in an interesting time right now as I'm making this, because it's all the coronavirus thing is happening. I hope you are safe, and man, like I said, I got kind of marooned out here, so I hope I get home soon. But that being said, this is an opportunity to get our lives better and live much better. So hopefully you're taking advantage of that. And we will talk to you guys soon. If you have any questions, email me or tag me on a post on the Austin Men's Development Board. And man, it's free stuff. We're building a great community here. There's a lot of good stuff happening. So we will talk to you guys soon. Bye.